Hi, everybody. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show where we watch old 16mm films, and that was a film called Splits, Spares, and Strikes. It was distributed by Official Films, who was kind of a competitor to Coronet Films. They did the same thing where they would license footage, usually from newsreels, and would then distribute it for home markets. And that was awesome, specifically because it was all ladies. And the trick shots at the end were nuts. Were really awesome. So, big fan of that. I found that because someone was looking for some stock footage of bowling. And so I found that, and I'm like, oh, I need to show this on the show. All right, so behind me, well, actually, this is a rare thing here. You can see there's a bunch of, I mean, it's chaos over here, but you can see there's a bunch of boxes. So 8 boxes showed up from the University of Northern Iowa. They were getting rid of their films, and they asked if I wanted some, so I paid for shipping and for boxes and etc. And so this film behind me is a film that I did not have, and we're gonna watch it premiered live. I literally just put it in the database, put it on the film scanner, and what I like about this is this feels meta because it's an educational film about potentially making educational films, and we love when that happens. So this is creating instructional materials. So I'm sure it's going to cover some other things as well, like bulletin boards and transparencies and slides, but hopefully they're going to get to the meat of making educational films. All right, enjoy.
A 7-year-old shapes a cone of foil into a horn for billy goat gruff. A junior high student peers into a microscope and sketches the mold growing on a piece of bread. A high school boy uses the school recorder to record a panel discussion broadcast outside of school hours.
And Jefferson's ultimate extension of federal powers in the acquisition of federal territories.
And later, with the help of some classmates, edits the speaker's remarks into a 5-minute presentation. These are the students for whom a learning situation has become a vivid, engrossing, total experience. In creating their own instructional materials, they have brought their hands, their eyes, and their ears into service to satisfy questions raised by their inquiring minds. To stimulate this inquiring attitude, this wanting to learn, is one of the purposes for which we teachers use audiovisual materials. We know our pupils learn more easily and retain what they learn longer if all the senses, all the doorways to their minds are involved. We want to stimulate and we know there are few activities as stimulating as those in which something is created. Creating a good bulletin board display on Thomas Jefferson is not just a matter of putting up something to look at. For instance, one student may be involved in research. One group may have to make selections, deciding which material best serves the purpose. Another student may have to construct materials available from no other source. And finally, the students bring together the results of the research and selection of materials in the construction of a bulletin board. when students, with our help, actually create those materials which help them learn, we can be sure we have made strides toward one part of our goal, to stimulate. And so we provide opportunities for our students to create instructional materials. This important teaching technique is effective for every age and every grade level. Although we cannot in this film indicate all the possible ways creative projects aid learning, we can look back to observe some methods the teachers of our 3 students used and evaluate some results from creating instructional materials.
All right, Ronnie, you read the next line.
One day, little Billy Goat Gruff started across the wide river. Trip, trap, trip, trap on his wee feet on the bridge. "Who is walking across my bridge?" called the troll with a terrible roar.
Very good. Ronnie read that just as if he were the troll himself.
I can do that too. So can I.
Well, fine. We've read the story once. Now let's put our books aside, act it out, and see what happens.
A reading lesson develops into an opportunity to enlarge other skills other than reading, such skills as cooperation, diction, and enunciation. Reading readiness may also be increased. The next time these children read a story, it will not just be words in a book. Already the children have solved the problem of making a bridge. It is real enough for the moment, but the more they become involved in this activity, which is creative in itself, the more opportunities will arise to broaden their experience. An impromptu playlet may liven the reading lesson for one day, but seizing on the high level of motivation here, this teacher capitalizes further on an aid to learning by guiding her students into the presentation of a real play, bringing in many associated activities. At later intervals in her classroom, one could find a script writing team busy at work. And incidentally, the writers were those who could profit most from exercises in composing sentences and handwriting. One could find another committee engaged in painting a backdrop, having called on a resource person, the art supervisor, for suggestions. And one could find happy, absorbed individuals constructing the masks for the billy goats and the troll to wear. Coordinator of all this activity has been the teacher, guiding, helping the young people make their own decisions, giving encouragement throughout preparation for the program.
This is our play about the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. One was little, one was medium, and one was big and really rough.
The student-written script, the costumes, the scenic background, the program, all the created materials that have contributed so much to a variety of learning experiences for this group, all of them have one further value: promoting parental interest in the children's school activities. But students can create their own learning resources in other ways. In this 7th grade classroom, a restaurant owner is speaking on the subject of food spoilage, the class's current science project. His daughter, Ruth, possibly would never have thought of Dad as a resource person without her teacher's guidance. She might even be surprised to learn that she has helped to create a learning situation by conveying the teacher's invitation for her father to speak to the class. But observe Ruth's classmates looking and listening, and you will see that the information provided by a resource speaker fits into the audiovisual field. a field which includes all materials not totally dependent upon reading to convey meaning.
So in our business, we use three things. We use refrigeration to retard bacteria development. We use pressure cooking, high temperatures for short periods, to destroy bacteria. And we insist upon cleanliness, absolute cleanliness, to help eliminate or control food spoilage. Well, boys and girls, I hope you know a little bit more about the subject now. Thank you.
Following the restaurant owner's visit, this class went on to do-it-yourself activities, which proved to be valuable not only for the first-hand information derived from them, but also for the introduction of scientific methods. Under the guidance of their teacher, this group has set up a display, the parts of which were researched, collected, and created by the students themselves. Facts from their textbook study of bacteria were personally verified by students finding evidence of bacteria in a food, milk, and conducting a simple experiment to show the control of bacteria afforded by refrigeration. But first-hand experience with preserving milk by one method led to study of other methods of food preservation and a student-originated display in that area. Work on this science project is still in progress. One of the girls, having observed from a simple experiment how a wax paper covering can retard the growth of mold in bread, now goes further to make a sketch of the mold. And other students are selecting material for a new display from pictures taken when the class made a field trip to the restaurant. The science project may not be over, but some important gains are being made through direct personal creation of learning materials. The students are working cooperatively toward a common goal. They are forming conclusions based on their own sharpened observation. And they are developing new communication skills. It's likely to be that way in any classroom where students see, hear, and do while they learn. For example, in a high school social studies unit on Jefferson, a student who had visited Monticello brought in slides which helped give an insight into Jefferson, the man.
Jefferson was a statesman, inventor, and architect. He designed and supervised the construction of his own home, Monticello. It is still a showplace today.
And student members of a team which had recorded and edited a television panel discussion have given their classmates a basis for evaluating Jefferson the statesman.
All Jeffersonian principles. There are many. Among them, there's Jefferson's running feud with Hamilton during Washington's administration over increase.
An outstanding teacher in this classroom has directed student awareness to the character and abilities of one of our nation's founders, and done so by means which are certainly effective, having them create instructional materials so that they are inspired to dig deeper into our democratic heritage. They have written essays, and in doing so have reinforced their knowledge and understanding of Jeffersonian democracy. They have prepared maps, not as a handiwork exercise, but to help themselves visualize and understand the consequences of the Louisiana Purchase, an event of Jefferson's administration. We have already seen the bulletin board display, which brought together many of their creative efforts. Now let us meet the teacher who is behind all these coordinated activities. Mr. Hartley, we've been looking in on some of the creative work your students have done for this unit. Have you any secrets about inspiring this enthusiastic support?
None, unless my own enthusiasm for the subject matter is catching. That plus the fact that I encourage initiative. When Tom needed information for an essay Comparing the powers of government under Jefferson and under the present administration, he wrote to Washington for this pamphlet.
Then you consider the search for unusual reference materials as a form of creative activity.
Definitely. Often a very rewarding form. Take this book, for example. A student was preparing a book report on it. She ran across some ideas which she didn't understand. So she wrote to the author asking him to explain them. She got a response, too. She was able to work his points into her report. I find that true with many students in this class. They're questioning, probing, forming intellectual conclusions of their own.
Questioning, probing, forming intellectual conclusions of their own. Becoming students in the true meaning of the word. Those are some of the results teachers have achieved from helping young people create instructional materials. These results certainly indicate to us as teachers the importance of having our students involved in creating instructional materials.
You know, it's interesting. This is part of that series which talks about using films to teach and also film strips, and it's in that weird white kind of limbo space. And there's definitely some Centron people that show up in there. I feel like I saw someone who later gives syphilis to his girlfriend in a later film called Innocent Party. But yeah, pretty great stuff. I like the self-referential material like that. All right, this is a Cornet film. Our family works together. Enjoy.
Our four musicians, however, lost no time in making themselves at home. They sat down at the table, were well content to take what the robbers had left them, and ate as though a 4 weeks' fast were ahead of them. When they had eaten their fill and blew out... What's the matter?
I think I need a new battery for my hearing aid.
I'll get you one tomorrow, okay?
All right.
As to our brave musicians, they never went to Bremen Town at all. They were so satisfied with their new home, they saw no reason for going any further. And all four, who had once been so close to losing their lives, lived out their days of their old age in ease and comfort. So I guess when they helped each other and worked together, they were able to get what they wanted and lived happily ever after.
That was a nice story. Now, I want you to all listen to me for a minute. Remember when I told you I was thinking about going back to school? Mm-hmm. Well, I've decided to do it.
Good.
You mean you want to go to school?
I sure do. This means there are going to have to be some changes around the house. I'm going to be gone 2 or 3 days a week and a couple of evenings. Plus, I'll need some extra time to do my homework. So this means we're all going to have to pitch in and help around the house.
You mean chores?
That's exactly what she means. For all of us.
You'll have about a week to get used to the idea. I start school a week from Monday.
A week from Monday, eh?
Mm-hmm. If you two hurry, you can walk me to the bus on your way to school. Today's my first day. I don't want to be late.
Okay.
Would you mind bringing your dishes out to the kitchen, please? And don't you forget to do your chores today after school, okay?
For Monday's weather? Well, cold. And snow's expected by this afternoon, so dress warmly, everybody.
Hey, get me an apple. Okay.
Monday, Harriet, take trash out, sweep kitchen floor. Harold, wash and dry dishes, fold and put laundry away.
Which one are you going to do first? Play. We'll do this stuff later. Come on. Hey, Mike, Jeff. Hey, what are you guys doing? We're going sledding. Want to come?
Okay, but wait until we finish our chores. Yeah, we'll just be a couple minutes.
Nah, we'll meet you at the park. Come on, let's go get Mom. Yeah. I'll meet you guys at the park after Mom and I get the sink fixed. Your mom fixes sinks? Sure, we fix all the things around here, right, Mom?
Right. Now hand me the monkey wrench, please.
Gosh, doesn't your dad... Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot he doesn't live with you. That's okay. Okay, we'll meet you at the park. Hey, so you guys finally made it.
Yep, finished our chores.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do all that gross stuff.
You mean you don't do any chores?
We do too. Yeah, only when Mom and Dad yell at us.
Man, you're lucky.
You said it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
When's Mom gonna fix dinner? I'm starving. Yeah, me too.
Mom's still at school, and I don't want to start dinner until these chores are done.
We'll start by then. Yeah.
Well?
Wednesday, Harold, vacuum rug. Harriet, wash windows. No, dust. Harriet and Harold clean bathroom.
I'm gonna go out and play with Meg. What about your chores? I'll do them later. Then I'm doing mine later. Hey, Mom. Can we make some cookies tonight?
No, honey, I have to study tonight.
Can't you do that later?
Well, I was going to study now, but I don't seem to be getting any help with these chores around here. Saturday, Harriet, gather dirty clothes, tie up old newspapers. Harold, put plants back in window, and clean living room.
Hey, I was watching that. You watch too much TV. Let's go outside and play. No, I want to watch that. Let's go outside and have a snowball fight or something. Come on. Okay, let's go sledding. Okay. Hey, Dad, something happened when I sled. Can you fix it?
When I have time, I will.
Can't you do it now?
I'm sorry. I have to finish these chores and I have to pick up Mom at the library.
Oh, you don't have any time for anything anymore.
How come you guys don't want to play?
No, I just don't feel like it.
How come? Why not?
Everything's all messed up at our house. Ever since Mom started to go to school.
What do you mean?
Mom and Dad, they never have any time to do anything with us anymore. Yeah, all they do is chores. Fun, you creeps. Yeah, what if it happened to you guys?
And you know why it doesn't?
Why?
We help with the chores at our house.
Right. What difference does that make?
When everybody works together, we all have more time.
Working together, huh? You better look at the refrigerator door. Huh? You know, the refrigerator door.
Oh, yeah. Hey, doors.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
So does a jaunty organ or a funky bass make an educational film better? I think so. That was awesome. That was really great. The excuse me, the first edition of that is not nearly as interesting. Not nearly as interesting. So it's exciting to see that they stepped it up. And that's the thing about, like, Cornette stepped it up in the 70s and created kind of these weird supernatural things. So the whole sequence about the being attacked by a vacuum cleaner is part of that deal of creating something that is supernatural. I mean, just like the Lunchroom Manners film becomes Lunchroom Goes Bananas, where all the food goes on strike, and so it's this weird kind of time in Cornette history, and they're trying to be provocative. They're trying to get kids engaged because they're inundated with media when they go home and watch television. So it's like, we got to step it up. They're going home and watching some crazy Japanese animation, or they're watching some insane Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So we have to add to that. Also, all the TV commercials. And I should say, as a kind of a promotional thing, on Saturday, we are premiering another example or another episode of Saturday Morning Dinah Show, where it's myself, Roy Mills, who's an animator and a puppeteer, and Tim Herod, who does a podcast about awkward music. We talk about watching live action kids shows from the 70s. And this next one is, I think, is Electro Woman and Dyna Girl, which is an insane Croft Superstar show, and features a crazy villain. So anyways, just realized that Cornette was looking at what was happening on Saturday morning and was just like, yeah, we gotta step up our game. All right, so behind me I got another film from University of Northern Iowa. This is called More Than Words. Enjoy.
Believe me, I'll tell you what's wrong with this organization. Communications, that's what's wrong. Send a memo. From now on, people...
Communications in this organization are going to be straightened out at once. Every section head is responsible for doing an immediate survey in depth.
I don't know. Something's wrong with the company's communications setup.
Oh.
So this memo came down from the front office, and it said we should all talk more, and asked me what I needed. I told him a powder blue telephone would make my desk just perfect. So next week they're going to start putting in...
A whole new telephone system? But I didn't want a whole new telephone system. I didn't say that. I didn't mean that. I meant communications, communications, communications. That's right. Communications. Not just sending a cable or a wire, not public speaking, not writing a letter, nor watching TV or a movie, but something much less obvious. Communications between human beings. The constant creation of understanding between people. There's always a sender and always a receiver, you'll hope. And ideas or feelings or facts to establish between them. As a communicator, you have to get through to people. First, to be understood. Get something across to somebody so he or she knows exactly what you mean. It can be a policy change, or a change of schedule. Or it can be your intentions or feelings in the form of correction, or your frame of mind in the form of almost anything. The second communication objective is to be accepted, to get people to agree with you, or at least give your communication a hearing. The third objective is action, to get something done, so your communication affects performance, improves it. You get action because the receiver understands what you want done, why he or she should do it. There's a fourth communications objective, to understand others, to know how they feel about a particular situation or conditions in general, to be aware of how they feel about you. A communication isn't just something that goes from you to others, it's something that takes place between you and others. Sure, this is how you communicate with words. With some people, you've got to write the words every time, because they believe only what they see. But some people only half read what you write, or are too busy to read what you write. So these people, you always have to tell. With others, you have to combine methods. You tell and you write. You can communicate with some people over the telephone and they'll understand. But with others, you have to be more personal. They have to see you to understand. The method of communication can sometimes determine the effectiveness of the communication itself. Sure, the method of communication varies, and you have to keep choosing, knowing when a personal visit is better than calling over the telephone, when a written communication is better than a spoken one. Obviously, you can't pay a personal visit across the country or over the ocean every time you want to communicate a change in plans. Several things determine your choice in method. Subject matter, cost, and time are important. Time in the sense of which method will get the thought, fact, or idea across quickly. And time in the sense of when is the best time to put the method to work. Let's call this timing, knowing when to communicate. Now, some people just won't hear you if they're busy doing something else. You communicate, and the ear hears it.
I'd appreciate it very much.
But there's something else that hears, too.
Appreciated my foot was making it tough for me, so he'll catch me in another mistake.
Sometimes the heart hears something quite different because people feel, you know. Not just once in a while, but every second, every beat. They think and they feel, think, feel, think, feel, worry, impatience, conceit, nervousness, carelessness, indifference, aggressiveness, insecurity, anger, and 100 other emotional things people are that form barriers to communications. These are what you have to plow through with each communication you send out. A frightened man thinks and feels differently from one who's secure. Communicate an order to the bold, aggressive kind of person.
A big account possibility just broke. It's a tough nut to crack, but I'd like you to go out right away and handle it. It all depends on you, boy.
You bet, Bob. I'll get right after it.
Well, these same words might be received an entirely different way by a less experienced, more fearful man.
A big account possibility just broke. It's a tough nut to crack, but I'd like you to go out right away and handle it. It all depends on you, boy.
Gee, I don't know enough to handle something like that. What if I mess it up? All by myself? Oh, I can't handle that.
On the other hand, with understanding of Paul's emotional barriers and a little sensitivity.
A terrific opportunity, and I know you can handle it. It's similar to the Appleby account you sold last week. Come to me if you need help. Remember, we're with you.
I'll get right after it.
Sure, the same communication can be wrongly received because of the attitudes the personalities, the barriers inside people. Sometimes the same words mean different things to different people.
Henry, what did the... You told me to do a model job, and I worked hard on it. Believe me, a more perfect model you won't get.
But we needed... And I didn't mean a model. I meant a model job, a perfect job, a good job, a real job.
But that's not what you said.
Don't listen to what I say, listen to what I mean.
Well, you can't always be certain of how people think or feel or what they know. That's why it often pays off to plan for communication. Before you pick up the telephone or write a memo or go out personally to communicate, run through some basic steps that might knock down some of the communication barriers. What? What are you going to communicate? A fact, an order, information, an attitude? Why? Why is it important? Why did the problem arise? Why is the communication necessary? How? How should you explain it? Orally, in writing, or both? Should you do it in your own office or out on the floor? When? When is the timing right? For you, for him, or her? Can it wait? Should you take care of it now? Who? Who is the person you're communicating with? Do you know his personality, her attitude? Have you examined his point of view? Do you understand her needs? And of course, once you add everything up, you've got to watch the language barrier.
Now, you remember, Miss Rowan, the first page of the Fratis has got to have the Fortis pad included. And don't forget the Friedel wasp.
A little over-communications can put the receiver mentally to sleep.
Now, I know this is taking a long time, Murrow, but it's important to get all the details, and I want to go over a few more points on item 26. You see, what I think should be done in this instance is to take what we can call a long-term look at the project. That is, I mean, we've always got to look ahead and plan.
You can under-communicate, too.
Higgins, I've got to rush out. Order came in from Highland Company. Take care of it. Tell me how you came out later, okay?
Who's Highland Company?
You see, what I think should be done in this...
Matter of fact, if you don't keep your language simple and clear, you can make people not want to communicate back. And this two-way communications, this feeding back, is important no matter where you sit on the management line. But you don't only communicate with your voice. There are unspoken communications that often speak much louder than words. And often unthought of communications. You watch for them in the receiver, and he watches for them in you. Maybe they don't communicate too loudly when you isolate them like this. But in a given circumstance, these unspoken communications can often change the meaning of words.
Rogers, it's imperative that this assignment be completed fast. Understand? Everybody's got to pitch in and get this job out fast.
Now, I want you gentlemen to leave this meeting with the realization that in this organization, people are our most valuable asset.
Sure. Come in, Wilson. Door's always open. Always got time to talk to one of my people.
Oh, Helen, come in. I wanted to talk to you about something. It's come to my attention that you've been violating a company policy. And I want to remind you about it and issue a preliminary warning. There's absolutely no smoking on the job.
Sure, your feet, your hands, your eyes, your face, and your heart reflect your attitude. And your attitude builds the climate, the atmosphere in which you and your people work. A basic natural climate of fairness, honesty, and mutual respect that keeps the communication lines clear and open both ways. So people know always where they stand with you. And you know where you stand with them.
I love me some late 50s animation. Very stylized. And it's interesting that I could probably take scenes from that, mix it from scenes of other animation that I have that's just as stylized and is interesting. Now, what do we got here? We got 6 minutes. Yeah, all right. Let's watch some white rats learn. This is motivation and reward in learning. Enjoy.
Here are two male albino rats. What do you think is the reason for the difference in their behavior? Hungry, the one. How will this difference in drive affect their learning? In order to see whether the difference in drive will produce a difference in learning, we're going to use an apparatus with two identical compartments. One for the animal that is very hungry, and another for the animal that is not hungry. At the outside end of each compartment is a food delivery apparatus. This consists of a stirrup-shaped bar placed above a food dish. Pressing the bar delivers a small pellet of food into the dish immediately below. We will now put the hungry and the satiated animals into the apparatus and watch for differences in learning. After being put in an unfamiliar environment, both animals are active, but the hungry animal is somewhat more active. The hungry animal remains active, but as the satiated one becomes adapted to the new environment, he settles down and becomes inactive. Watch the wide variety of responses which the hungry animal makes. Since each of these responses occurs without reward, it is soon displaced by a new response. The behavior is variable. What responses do you think the other rat is making? The satiated rat is inactive. But even if he had hit the bar and got a pellet, food would not be a reward without the drive of hunger. The hungry rat is active. He stands up near the bar, but just misses it. The correct response of pressing the bar cannot be rewarded and learned until it occurs. He approaches the food device, stands up near the bar, presses it, but since he does not see the pellet and the food cup, he is not rewarded. Now he finds the pellet and is rewarded for approaching the food cup. At last he hits the bar and gets an immediate reward. Has he learned? Will it take him as long to press the bar the next time? Although the animal still makes quite a few irrelevant responses, he presses the bar much sooner the second time. The occurrence of a single reward has strengthened the tendency to make the response of pressing the bar. Notice that the rat performs exactly the same response which was rewarded. In the next trial, you will see that coming up to the bar from a slightly different angle, the rat makes a new response. He goes around the side of the stirrup instead of down through it. He goes back to his old response. He still makes a few irrelevant responses. Watch him go around the side of the bar again. This response gradually wins out because it is rewarded the fastest and with the least effort. On the next trial, you'll see that the animal starts down to the food dish before he has pressed the bar hard enough to get a pellet. He makes several anticipatory errors which are not rewarded and regresses to his old response of diving through the stirrup. These anticipatory errors occur for a number of trials and then are gradually eliminated. After several more trials, which are not shown in the picture, the hungry animal has eliminated irrelevant responses. He has learned to press the bar efficiently. Now, what do you think the satiated animal has learned to do? With this device, we can put a mild electric shock on the grid on which the rat stands. The shock is adjusted to be annoying, but not painful. Shock is on. Shock is off. Pressing the stirrup bar turns off the shock. Although the shock is not strong, you will see that it supplies enough drive to produce a radical change in the behavior of the satiated rat. He hits the bar, the shock goes off, and he's rewarded. He hits the bar and is rewarded again. After a few more trials, which are not shown in the picture, he has learned to press the bar quickly as soon as the shock goes on. In fact, when a drive is supplied, the satiated animal learns even more rapidly than the hungry one did. This is because the drive produced by electric shock is stronger than hunger. It makes the rat more active and can be reduced more quickly and completely. We have demonstrated that the satiated animal is not innately stupid or lazy. All he needs is a little motivation. Again, a mild electric shock can be administered through the grid on the floor of the apparatus. This time, it can only be turned off by rotating a wheel. As soon as the wheel is moved, the shock goes off and stays off till the next trial. Just as in the preceding demonstration, the satiated animal starts responding as soon as a drive is supplied.
And of course, when I walk away, they start torturing the rat. I'm sorry about that. I was like, oh, it's motivation and reward. But that should be fine. Nope, sorry guys. I apologize. That's not lunchtime viewing. I think the film is, I did put it on YouTube in its entirety, so if you want to watch it, do that. But we can add a word to our list of alternative pronunciations. Apparatus, along with protean, abdomen, vegetable, reptiles, puma, rutabaga, ovulation, Montana, membrane, Uranus, Gemini, ethanol, clique, Zymamin. Oh, that's the name of someone who watches the show. What else? Agar. Yeah. Anyways, so apparatus. That's the only thing we got out of that film. Thanks for watching today. Sorry about that. That was not a pleasant way to end. But I'll make up for it tomorrow. Guaranteed. If you like what you saw, you can donate at via the Super Thanks button, which Jeremy did. Thank you, Jeremy. You can also go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are ways to support us. Also, these are for sale at the YouTube channel. There's a products page you can buy there, and this one is pretty cool. It has a drawing of me and my nice shoes. Or you can also support us by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, or coming to, if you're in Raleigh or the Triangle area in North Carolina, I'm doing a show tonight at 7 o'clock at the Alamo Draft House in the Video Vortex Lounge. And we'll be showing a film show called Free Range Kids. So it's films of kids going wild in the 70s with little to no parental or even adult supervision. So it's a fun show. Come out. Also, if you happen to be in the DC area, we're going to be in Greenbelt, Maryland, Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to be doing a home movie video day for 2 days, actually. So it's a home movie video weekend where we'll be digitizing people's stuff for free from, I believe, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. And it's in conjunction with the Old Greenbelt Theater, who got a grant to bring us up there. So it'll be an opportunity, if you want, to meet me and Katrina, my wife, and do some fun stuff. If you want more details, email me at avgeeks@gmail.com, and I can tell you more about it, because it's something you have to sign up for. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow. If I don't see you tonight, come on by if you're in Raleigh. But otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Take care.